Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Saturday morning practice. Good morning, Cindy from Hawaii. So let's concentrate. And I think it's about 9 months ago when I started to live cast on Insight Timer. I was trying to describe what we do, which is not easy to do because it's a little bit very similar to what other people do, but in a way quite different. And I decided to use the term mindful fitness because we talk a lot about fitness. Except that when we talk about fitness, we typically talk about the fitness of the body, the physical fitness. And I was trying to bring that to both the mental fitness and as well as what's between the mind and the body, which is something that we call the chi, the energy. So we are quite aware of the body. Everybody knows what the body is, knows all the sensors, the eye, the ear, the nose, the tongue, the body, and even the brain. The brain is part of the body. We know a little bit about the mind, at least to be accurate. We don't know the mind, we know the effect of the mind. Much like we think we know about gravity, but we don't. We know the effect of gravity. So at least we have that, so let's focus on that. And then with that, we slowly develop the understanding and the appreciation for energy. And then once we can do that, we can use the energy as a harness, as a bridge to further bring the unity between a mind and a body to achieve something called mindful fitness. So let's calibrate our body, focus on the body, starting at the bottom of a spine, straighten up a spine, shift the focus along the spine, up all the way to the top of the head, open the shoulder, lean back the forehead so the weight of the head is on the shoulder, tuck in your chin. And now we're going to try to focus on the mind, or at least the effect of the mind on our body. Try to bring a mind to a hand and a mind and the body together. Bring the hand up in the shoulder, open the shoulder, focus on the wrist. And we're going to do a little bit of warm-up exercise. But it's a warm-up on the mind as much as on the body. Warming up the joint. In the past, I talked about health and how the Western concept of health is very different from the Eastern concept of health. And what we call the healthcare system in this country is really sickness care. And you don't go to a doctor to get healthy. That's not their responsibility. You go to a doctor when you're sick, and their responsibility is to make you unsick. Nothing about health. The Eastern concept, and I mentioned this before, has a lot to do with how you should live in a harmonious way with the nature and with yourself. So let's think about the word harmony. Harmony, right? So the image that comes to my mind is the barbershop quartet, where they sing in harmony. Beautiful, beautiful way of singing. In the basis of harmony is the rhythm, understanding that there is a rhythm. So to live healthy, to live harmoniously with the nature, both the earth and the heaven, and to live harmoniously with all the parts of a body, means that we really have to understand that there is a rhythm. And so you say, okay, well, yeah, there's a rhythm. The heart has a rhythm. I can feel the heart. If I can't hear the heart, I can use a stethoscope and I can hear the heart. The breath has a rhythm, although it's somewhat irregular. But that's the rhythm of the body. There's a lot more to the rhythm. We have to accept that we are part of the universe. The universe has a rhythm. And the universe has a rhythm on planet Earth. We know that. That's why there's tide, right? Water rises and water recedes. Why is that? Because we're influenced by the sun, the moon, and the Jupiter. Galileo understood that. And he actually was put in house arrest until he died because of that, because of this discovery. The Chinese discovered that 4,000 years ago. Because after all, the human body and the earth has one thing in common. We're both 70% water. So the universe has effect on us, and it creates a rhythm in our body. And we have to understand that rhythm. And if we understand that rhythm, then we know how to harmonize. So what is that rhythm? Well, if you go back to North Indians, all the way back to Shiva, the Adi Yogi, the original yogi, they divided the day into 6 time zones. 6, not 24, 6. So each time zone on the body is 4 hours. And when that knowledge came to China around 1600 years ago with Bodhidharma, who was also a North Indian yogi, the Chinese decided that there's actually 12 time zones. Each one is 2 hours. And each of the time zone has a tremendous effect on the body, and we just have to understand that. So they decided that each of these time zones, each of the 12 is going to be subdivided into 2. One is called yin and one is called yang. Yang is when the sun is upon us. Yin is when the sun is away from us. Now you think about your body. Think about your body. Just think about it. It's simple. It's logic. Where in your body is most influenced by the sun? Has to be the top of the head. So all this yang energy, they come together in the top of the head. Now I ask you, which part of your body is least influenced by the sun? It's hidden away from the sun. It's hidden so well that there's no other part that is hidden better. It's at the bottom of your upper torso, right between your reproductive organ and the opening of your bowel. So the Chinese call this the 100 meet. All the yang energy meets here. And they call the other one the yin meet. All the yin energy meets there. And from there they distribute to the extremities. We have 10 fingers. We have 10 toes. It has to be divided into 12 divisions. So 6 of them goes to the hand. 6 of them goes to the toe. That's it. And then they all come together. There's an energy line in front, and then there's an energy line in the back. So what we just did was working on the energy lines that comes from these extremities. Eventually we work on the energy lines that comes from the toe, the other set of extremities. But for now, we're going to come back to the main channel. This is called the yin channel. This is called the yang channel. The other name for this is conception, or I prefer to call it gestation. The one in the back is translated most commonly as governing. I prefer to call it protective or the tutoring. So we open our shoulder, sit up straight, and the way to exercise this is by deep breathing. Deep breathing means that we're going to use our diaphragm. And as we breathe in, we're going to push down the diaphragm. As we breathe out, we're going to lift up the diaphragm. Open your shoulder, sit up straight, stretch your spine, relax your shoulder. Take your fingers, lock them, put that 2 fingers below the belly button. We call this the Dan Ten. Dan means fire, Ten means feel. Dan Ten is lower, middle, upper. Upper Dan Ten is the brain. The lower Dan Ten is the second brain. So as we breathe, we relax. We breathe in with a nostril, close your mouth, very slow, very gentle, from beginning to end, going from the lower to the middle to upper dantian. Okay? When we exercise the diaphragm, that's a major, that's a connected tissue, right? The diaphragm is just a piece of tissue. All the internal organs have connected tissue of its own. It's like the sausages in the casing. All of them are connected. All of them are connected through the diaphragm. So as we exercise the diaphragm, we actually exercise the internal organ. The Chinese developed an energy line, devoted an energy line to that system of interconnected tissue. It's called the triple warmer, and it's the yang line that associated with the middle finger, with the heart, with the pericardium, and it goes along the upper part of the wrist. So as we come down, we're stretching this part, okay, which complements with the abdominal breathing. So let's try it again, okay? So that now, once the Chinese discover that out of the 6 divisions, which came from North Indian, that there's the yin and yang subdivisions, so therefore it makes the 12 energy lines. They understand that 6 of them are from the fingers and 6 of them from the toes, all comes together. Or the yin at the bottom of the upper torso, or the yang at the upper part of the upper torso. Then they start to understand how these energies actually associate with the internal organs. Now it's unfortunate that the name that they gave has translated into English, and now when we hear the word liver, We think that that's the liver in the Western concept, where in fact that naming was 4,000 years old, and the naming is a lot more richer than the Western concept. So when I talk about the liver energy line, it's very simple, very easy for us to say, oh, that's the liver, that's the splint. And if I have problem with my liver, I'll work on that energy line. No, not so. Not so. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. So we use the word holistic, starting with the H. What you really be thinking about is holistic, starting with the W. It's the whole body working harmoniously with each other. Now, all of these 6 divisions in the 12 energy lines, it's your body clock, it's your rhythm. So that's why it's very important that we wake up early in the morning, because around 7 o'clock, the energy line, the energy pair, the energy line that has to do with the stomach and the splint is active. The stomach is a yang energy line, it's the most strong yang energy line. Your yang energy starts to arise in your body. And if you're still lying down, you're not absorbing the yang energy. So it's very important for us to get up early. I get up around 6 or 6:30. 6 or 6:30. Now, it turns out that before 7 o'clock is another energy pair that has to do with the lung and the large intestines. So even before I study any of this, I got used to going to the bathroom, having my bowel movement early in the morning, because I was an entrepreneur and I really want to get my quote-unquote personal shit out of the way. Sometimes you just have to make some fun of yourself, and and it turned out to be the right thing, because that's when the bowel was very active. Now the other thing that I do is I try very, very hard to sleep before 11. Now I know some of the students from Malaysia, it's late in the evening there, so you're not going to be able to sleep before 11 o'clock, but at least sleep before 1 o'clock, right? Because from 11 to 1 and then from 1 to 3 is the liver and the gallbladder play. This is the time when the body really needs to detox your body and start to manufacture blood. But again, these names are very generalized. Okay, they're not really the exact Western counterpart. All right. So this yin energy line has to do with all the yin organs. The yin organs are the heart, the lung, the kidney, the splint, and the liver. This is called the yin energy. And then the other ones are the yang energy. The yin energy, the reason why it's called conception, the reason why I translate it into gestation, is because this is all the organs that are developed first inside the womb of the mother. Without those, you're not viable. You're not viable. So they get developed first, and we call this, the Chinese call this the treasure organs. They're the one that contains the essence, especially the kidney. The kidney contains very important essence that has to do with your entire hormonal balance in your body, all the things that has to do with your marrow and everything. So a big part of my practice here is the focusing on the kidney and really understanding that and understanding how to cure the disease that we have, or maintaining health in a modern society, living in a 24/7 stress-oriented society. All right. So in the past, I talked about something called metabolic disorder, metabolic syndrome. This is a new term that the Western doctor have started to use to really generalize all the disease that we have now living in a modern society. I myself suffer from diabetic. I'm now able to get it down to more like the pre-diabetic stage. I still have a long way to go. So I understand a lot about diabetes, type 2 diabetes, and how it is basically fundamentally a hormonal disorder having to do with the insulin resistance, right? Insulin is a very important part, very important hormone. But besides that, high blood pressure, hypertension, heart disease, liver disease, even constipation, even the lack of ability to sleep, all that. really has to do with what is now called the metabolic disorder, or what we used to call hormonal disorder. So lately I've been thinking about that, thinking about how to really understand what is called the metabolic disorder versus how the qi can help with that. And then I realized that nobody understands what metabolic means. Nobody. They think they do. I thought I did. I didn't. So I started to think about a new term, and instead of calling it metabolic disorder, it's really just a lifestyle disease. It's lifestyle. It's that we make wrong choices in a lifestyle. So what are these wrong choices? Eating the wrong food. Most of what we eat is not even food anymore. Eating too much of it. Eating at the wrong time. Never stop eating. Drinking the wrong kind of fluid. We don't drink water anymore. We drink coffee, we drink tea, we put lots of sugar in it, we drink soft drink, we drink sports drink. We hardly ever drink any water anymore. Most of us still do. We don't rest. We don't rest. Or we rest at the wrong time. We don't go to, look at it. Everyone go to sleep with an iPhone or cell phone, right? You wake up in the middle of the night, first thing you do is turn it on. Now the bright light shines in your eye, you can't sleep anymore. Quality of sleep is really, really bad. We don't exercise. Or when we do exercise, we exercise it in the wrong way. We actually generate more stress hormone from the exercise, prolonging what's called the fight or flight mode. We lost the art of the rest and digest. We go to yoga class, we come back more stressful. We go to Tai Chi class, we come back more stressful. Nobody ever talk about the parasympathetic nerve. How do you actually energize the parasympathetic and put yourself into that rest and digest mode? We forgot about all that. That's a lifestyle disorder. Now, what does that do to your body? Think about all that. Think about all that. What does it do to your body? It puts tremendous stress on your kidney. That's what it does. But you wouldn't know that, because the kidney is that one organ that never complains. It just keeps working. It just keeps working. So when we talk about qi, it's really harmony, rhythm, living in harmony with yourself, living in harmony with Earth. What does that really mean? What does it really mean in terms of fixing all the ill that you impose on your body based on your lifestyle choice? It's about improving the circulation. It's about restoring hormone balance in your body. So the Chinese understood that. They understood that 4,000 years ago. Look at the way the word qi is written. The modern way, the word qi made up of two parts. It made up a part that represents air, and another one represents rise. This has to do with circulation. It's not just circulation of the blood, it's a circulation of the nutrient. It's a circulation of the oxygen, how you breathe your air into your body and then distributing it into the rest of the body. That's why these two energy points, called the gate to the cloud, is tied to the lung. The lung is the one that takes the oxygen as a fuel and then distribute it into your body. So that has to do with circulation, is how the kidney and the lung and the heart work as a symbiotic triangle. The other part of it is how the kidney and the spleen and the liver work in another symbiotic triangle. That has to do with metabolic. That has to do with your hormone. All right? So what we just did, working on these energy points, has to do with the lung and the heart. So now we're going to continue and work with the spleen and the liver. The other part. The other way of written the word qi means no fire. So 4,000 years ago, the Chinese didn't understand hormone and all that, but they understood something. They understood that when you lose the balance between the yin and the yang, your body has fire. Fire in the liver, fire in the belt, in the stomach, okay? Or the lack of fire in the kidney. Is their way of explaining the hormonal balance in your body, maintaining the harmony within yourself, maintaining the harmony between the yin and the yang. We don't recommend that you just sit. We recommend that you prepare for your sitting. So how do you prepare for your sitting? When you wake up in the morning, you're not quite awake yet. You don't want to just sit down for meditation. You want to get some fire into your body. Okay? Because otherwise, the sitting is the earth element. You need some warmth. And so you stand before you sit. Stand for 5 minutes, 3 minutes. Let the body unlock your knee. Let the fire element goes to your body. Then you sit. In the middle of the day, after lunch, your blood rush into your stomach. You don't have a very clear mind. That's a good time for walking meditations, focusing on your body and you're sensing your nerve ending and all that, and let yourself energize before you do any kind of sitting, or not sitting at all, because that's fine. If you're just walking meditation, that's fine. Helps your digestion anyway. At night, you don't want to just sit. You're already so tired. So what you want to do is you want to sleep. Lying down meditation. Lying down meditation is the water element. It's like adding water back into the earth again. Rejuvenate the body before you meditate. Okay? Sitting meditation requires a lot of work. So we're going to sit for 3 minutes now, making use of the water element, making use of the wind element. Okay? Now we sit like the bell. We walk like the wind. We stand like the pine tree. We sleep lying down like the bow, like bow and arrow. So the bell means that your feet has to be firmly on the ground or on the sitting mat. Spine has to be straight, like you're hanging it from the ceiling. It's like the center part of your bell, the clapper. Open the shoulder. Lean back the forehead. Tuck in your chin. It's getting heavy, absorbing all the negative energy. Okay, and your entire body for the in-breath. And again, starting at the bottom of the spine. You just have to think it. Pretend that. Just think it. That's why we don't call it Qi Gong. We call it by its original name, which is Dao Yan. Dao means to guide. Yan means to entice. You want to entice those energy, those electrons up your top of the head. As you bring it to the top of your head, bring your body with you. Stretch your spine. Open your shoulder. Relax your shoulder. Lean back your forehead. Tuck in your chin. Open, relax your eyelid. Maintain contact with the upper part of your roof of your mouth. And then, starting at the forehead, let the negative energy fall. As it falls, lean back as if you're getting out of the way, and just let it fall. And then, one more time, bottom of your spine, go up. And what you're doing is you're creating your own magnetic field. And you know there's something called MRI, magnetic resonance imaging. That's what you're doing, is you're creating a resonance between your magnetic field and the Earth's magnetic field, and enticing the energy to rise through your body from the yin to the yang and back down again, okay? All right. So the talk that I will give, if not next Tuesday, maybe sometime later, is would be called the Qi and Astrology. So what is Qi and Astrology? So again, go back to the 4,000 years ago or whatever. And there's a fundamental difference between the Western culture versus the Eastern culture. The Western culture, for the longest time, it was the Dark Age, and then eventually the beginning of the Catholicism. The entire society, entire thought process was controlled by the church, right? So the church only allows very limited amount of thinking, and you try to understand beyond that, no way. So that's why I mentioned about Galileo, and Galileo got in trouble because he dared to talk about how it was the sun, the earth revolving around the sun and not the other way, and the church said no. It says on the Bible that when God created the universe, it started with the earth. So, and then he created the sun and the moon. So that had to be the case. So the study of astrology in the Western world come very, very late, less than 200 years ago, right? Less than 200 years ago. But the study of astrology in the Asian culture starts very early. Starts early, early. In fact, it's that one branch of science that was always supported by the king, the emperor. Why? Because in the Chinese culture, the emperor is the son of heaven. It's the son of heaven. So it's very important for them to study the heavens, study the sky. So for a long time, long time ago, they already understood how the moon, the sun, and the Jupiter affects the earth. And that's why they have the 12, the 12 signs, the 12 deity, because it takes 12 years for the Jupiter to circle around the sun once, right? So that's why we have these 12 orientation, the 12 in astrology, the 12 signs. But the Chinese decided that wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to just divide our existence into 12 parts. And they started to realize that in addition to the Jupiter, there's also Mercury, there's Venus, and so forth. And eventually they identify 5 planets. And then they name after them, after the 5 material, which is different from elements. So I talked about that before. And the difference is that these are material, like it's not so much whether they are ice versus water. Okay? Ice and water are the same. It's just how it affects the environment, how it interacts with the environment. So they talk about these 5 elements: the water, the earth, the metal, the wood, and the fire. Okay? And for example, the water is the source of all life, and the earth is really where life begins. And then they discover that these 5 materials actually has the yin and the yang relationship with one another, right? Yin and yang relationship with one another. For example, the water has this supporting effect on the earth, but it has this regulating effect on fire. The wood and the earth supports the wood, but the fire destroys the wood. So then the 5 material, the 5 phrases is really the central core of the Chinese culture. And then eventually they take that and start to understand the body. And they identify these, what I call the 5 treasure organs. And then the 5 treasure organs forms a chart like this. Forms a chart like, now this is in Chinese, but I'll translate it. And basically, if you think about the pentagon with the 5 corners, those are the 5 treasure organs. The kidney, the liver, the heart, the splint, and the lung. And each one of them represents one element. So water, the kidney is water. That's the source of life. The liver is the wood. That's where life begins, right? The liver is where you generate, where you create blood. The heart is the fire. The splint is the earth, and the lung is the metal. And all these have yin and yang relationship with another. For example, the kidney is water. I might have misspoke, but the kidney is water, and the liver is wood. So the kidney supports the liver. Okay? The kidney supports the water. But the kidney is regulating the heart because the kidney is water, but the heart is fire. It's a very interesting, very symmetrical. I just love it, okay? And so I talk about being aware of the dimensions of existence, understanding that our health is not just physical health. Our fitness is not just physical health, physical fitness. I talk about how our health involves both our chi and the mind. Right? Being aware of your degrees of existence. But awareness is built on ability. And I talk about this, the ant who lives in a piece of paper, an ant that lives only in a 2-dimensional world. And if you try to convince the ant that the world is actually 3 dimensions, the ant says, look, I have no ability to do that. It would be the same if I asked you that we're actually living in a 4-dimensional space. You said, forget it, I can't see it. So awareness and ability is one of the same. So what we're doing here, think about this journey that we're on in the last 2 hours, right? We're coming up 2-hour mark now. Think about this journey that we're on. We start with the body, being aware of the body. Straighten your spine, open your shoulder, relax your forehead, tuck in your chin. Okay, lean forward, lean back, put pressures on your adrenal. Open your eyes, relax your eyes, put your tongues on it. That's awareness of your body. We talk about awareness of your mind, awareness of the effect of the mind. Where is your mind? Put your minds in the center of your palm, raise the hands together. Go up, stretch, hold, come down together. That's awareness of your mind. Awareness of your chi. That's crazy. There is no such thing because you don't have the ability to feel it. So what do? It took a long time. We exercise the fingers, we exercise the toe. We really become aware of these energy lines. And then when we finally sit, we create some, when at least I made you believe that we created some electrons, and you start to cycle it through. And at first you say, I don't know what he's talking about. He's making it up. Well, if I'm making it up, why are we having 159 meditators here? Some of you feel it. I'm sure you did, just like I do. And you start to feel, hey, there's something going on here. All of a sudden you gain some ability. Comes awareness. Oh, so this is what it means to live harmoniously with myself, understanding the energy line, understanding the rhythm in life. Don't live against the rhythm of the universe. Okay? The reason that we are where we are today, with the virus, with all these effect on our weathers on that, is because we have chosen to live against the universe. That all started the day I was born. It all started after the day that I was born. Before that, it was a simple world. When I was a child, my mom asked me to go down and buy her some cooking oil. She gave me a bottle. Right? I took it down. I think I filled it with oil. But the oil drips on the side, so you can't carry it. So he takes a I don't know what it is, but some kind of grass. He tie it, and then now I hang it. There were no plastics. Come on. Okay? We live in a very different world. We are all responsible for the destruction of a universe. We're no longer living harmoniously with the universe. But we can at least live harmoniously with ourselves. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm trying to achieve. Okay?